Hello and welcome to the channel. Henning Pauli here. Today we're looking at the Fractal AM4. Based on the VP4 architecture, the VP4 base, which just had effects in 4 blocks, they thought, well, if we change one of the 4 effects blocks for an amp block, we actually have a full modeler at less money than the FM3, FM9 and XFX3 would be. So it's a more budget-friendly Fractal with a limit of only 4 blocks. And we don't have scribble strips and blah, 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 and a couple of other things that are not there. We also have a much more limited editor, a more limited, and I'm using this in quotation marks because it's not limited. We just don't have the full processing power and the full chain of something like an FM3 or FM9. If you want to go nuts, go get one of the bigger ones. But my argument is, should you and why would you, if the AM4 gives you so much already? And do you really need more than 4 blocks? I argue you don't. Now, I spent quite a bit of time with it, and I do think it is quicker and more straightforward to edit. Not straightforward to edit, but it is quicker to edit than its bigger brothers. And at $8.99 in Europe, I do think it's probably the modeler I would recommend in that price range because it offers a shit ton. And we're going to try to really just show you the tip. I'll try to show you the tip of the iceberg. First of all, here is it in the box, and then it comes out of the box. And that's important because when you buy from G66, which is the European Fractal distribution, you're getting a shit ton of stuff. Personalized letters, coupons for lessons. There's a lot that they do to make their customers feel perfectly treated. Check it out. So as you could see, one of the things that it comes with is this Schnellstartanleitung or Schnelleinstieg, which I think if you ordered it from Spain or from wherever, you probably have this not in German. And I absolutely highly recommend reading that because it absolutely does give you a very quick intro to how to operate it. And you don't, the learning curve on it is not as hard as other Fractals are. Right? Before we go into some basic operation, let's go check out some sounds from the first bank. So before we go into the track that I made, I'll show you the basic operation. So here's the thing. Thank you, Leslie, for putting the thing there. Very dark. So we have this green stuff, which shows you presets. So what you do is preset, preset, preset. And when you start clicking, you actually see the presets that are available on that bank, right? How do you get to the next bank? Actually pretty fair. Hold 4 or hold 1, up and down. So no double tapping, right? Bam, you go to the next bank. Bam, you go to the next bank. Quick bank changes, not that easy, or is it? So I'll go to A2. We have a preset and a scene knob. So these are 4 quick control knobs, which on the FM3 or FM9 or XFX3, I say on the big ones, okay, you know what I mean. I actually also clickies, they did save money here. They're not push buttons, which would have been nice to have. For example, you know, push here and then edit this, push here and edit this. There's of course, and you know I'm going to bitch about that, no touch screen. Would be super easy to go click, right? Or click presets. But this is, let's say, the old guard of Fractal. What's coming in the next generation? Who knows? If they don't have touchscreens in the next generation, I'm going to bitch about that. And of course, now every Fractal user is going to say, we don't need touchscreens. Yeah, we all do. Okay, I'm going to sell you an iPhone now without a touchscreen. Let's see you bitch about that. Okay, these things just have been around for a while and they work. But this can be operated rather easily without. I agree. These not being pushies, okay, fine. So if you want to go somewhere quickly, you just dial this and then you have very quick access to all the presets. And then of course, you see on the right, there's 6 push buttons, so you can actually go page. Oh, that's incorrect. I can't go surf the pages here. Wait, go do, nope, go away. Exit. No, page. I said it's easy, right? So you can either dial this here or just with the select, which is, of course, no, it's also not a push. It's also not a push. So you have to use enter instead of pushing. Was that really the right place to save money? I don't know. Okay, but if I want to go to my rev and I know roughly where that was, then I can get there quite a bit quicker. Enter. Or again, preset, go all the way over here. Enter. That enter is bugging me, but okay. So that's how that works. Or you go scenes, and here are your 4 scenes for that preset. What is a scene? Well, within a preset, line 6 might call it snapshots, you can have 4 different scenes, which are using kind of that layout of the preset, but each of the 4 blocks can have 4 channels, meaning you could have 4 different amps on the amp block. It's not just 4 different settings of the amp, it's actually 4 different amps on the amp block. Now, scenes are being used usually on these things to make preset switching or sound switching more immediate. It's not the biggest problem here versus some other hardware that we know. You know what I'm talking about. So you can have 4 different scenes and you can select between them like this, or you can of course select between the look, and all of a sudden we got red. And so now I can actually switch between the scenes directly here. So the red layer is scenes. If I go back to presets, oh, I'm still on the scenes. Why? Oh, wait, because I did this. Okay. So if I'm up here with my select, I do presets. If I'm here, I do scenes. If I'm here on this layer, I actually switch blocks on and off. So reverb, delay, drive. And you already saw when I do that on the amp block, well, why would I turn my amp off, right? I'm actually engaging a boost. And then the last thing I can't get to with the select. So here's the thing. 1 and 2, you push that down. And now we can go to preset, scenes, effects, or tuner. And that's a very, very nice way to get around. So I hit 2, and now I select my scenes, right? Now I select my presets. Now I select my stomps. Or do this and I'm in the tuner pane, where I also have tap tempo, right? And I can mute the tuner as well. And do this, and I'm back to presets. It's a pretty straightforward push these two, then select what I want to do. Or let's say I'm selecting my preset, and then from now on I just am on the scenes. I can do my scenes, or if I like my preset, do this, and I actually have my stomps that I can go to directly. Once you get a hold of that and you get used to that, it's pretty straightforward, right? So do this, preset, 1, done. Of course, there's a million other ways to switch this. Of course, the thing has MIDI control. If you have the fulcrum from 901 Sound, which is an expression pedal with 2 outputs for X and Y, when we look at the back, you can connect both of them. Of course, it has digital out, MIDI in out, USB-C. You can use it to record directly. There's a headphone out. There is no XLR. Would that have fit on here? Yes, no, maybe. But honestly, they had to distinguish it from the big ones in some way. And of course, these are TRS. There's an insert which gets inserted behind everything that's digital, so it comes at the end, and there's your input. So in that regard, of course, it is all a little bit simpler than the big Kahuna, but that's fine. Before we go into a little bit more editing right on the box, and the thing is, there is a lot. It might be the cheapest one of the Fractal family, but that doesn't mean it's been simplified to death. It's still, I would say, one of the most in-depth modelers there are. So here is the track that I recorded with the Harley Benton baritone guitar, and I doubled the rhythm with a plexi, which you usually wouldn't do for those sounds, but it had the bite, and a rev, which gave me the size. So those two together, and then some really, really cool clean sounds. I think some Petrucci preset or whatever, and maybe I turn a delay on here or there, and I guided it or controlled it with the software. So if you have it on the desk, always have the software open, and if you got direct controlling, you're very quickly creating really, really cool sounds, and you don't really think about too much. I want this, bam, 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 done. I want this, bam, 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 done. And because it's only 4 blocks and not complicated routings and stuff like this, you get shit done quickly. So here's the track called Make It Longer.
Longer.
Good. So let's quickly go into editing. So I have these blocks here. And if I wanted to do something to my delay, I just navigate with the select to my delay. And I hit enter. And now I'm in the delay. And you can see I can do everything here. And I'm in this row right now, and which means I have direct control over everything right here. Right? Or turn select, and then I'm in the lower row. You can see there are 4 pages. That's the selection for which delay I want, and you can already tell what the crap there are a lot. So there are actually 3 rows right there. Are they columns? I'm going to say columns. Can push this, so I want lo-fi tape, enter, and now we got lo-fi tape. Hit page again, that's the settings, and that's actually the more settings. So you can see 3 pages and you can see the full CPU there. Don't go past 85, I'm not sure if it even lets you. Then we're gonna exit, I'm gonna navigate to reverb, I'm gonna hit enter, same deal. All the reverbs, quite a few. 2 rows of parameters, and then some more parameters. So that is relatively quick, but you can see a lot under the hood already, even though you only have the 4 blocks. So how do I change what's there? Let's say I don't want a delay there. Well, it says type right there. And you can see now you just flippity-doo that around. You can also move them around. How do I do that here? I don't know. In the app, it's really simple. I mean, honestly, it makes a lot of sense to use the desktop app with this. There's no mobile app. The filter, flanger, gate, big graphic EQ, more complex EQ, phaser? Is it a phaser? I think so. That's not rotten. That's a rotary. Tremolo, volume wah, which you can control, of course, with your foot controller, chorus, compression, delay, drive, enhancer, filter, and we're looping around. No amp, because you can't have 2 amp blocks, right? So just quickly exit presets, and I should be back to where I was. Oh, when you're here, you can also push these 2 to go into amp mode. And now you see the different colors, which you can actually assign in the app. And you can flippity-doo-dah around just between the 4 different amps you assign to the 4 different channels. Without changing your preset or the rest of the sounds. So you can just change amps. Don't know if that's necessary, because you could also just do that with scenes or presets, but look, Bob's your uncle, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. If you want to, turn that on, I think you do that with, nope, not enter. How do I turn that on? From here? I don't know. I mean, I could, here, obviously, because I'm on that row. So you just turn it on, right there. And if you go to amp, enter, sorry, I'm looking over there, but that's where I see things. Here, of course, do you see all the different pages there? This is not your very simple modeler. You have a lot of stuff. So here you can pick your amp. We're gonna go into the app in a second, and you see there are a lot of them. A lot. Now, this doesn't have all the effects from the big kahunas, but I would say more than enough effects, amps, and everything to make you quite happy. So if we go page, there's your amp settings, possibly more amp settings. Your speaker settings, which you can absolutely do here, and that's Dynacaps. It's not IRs. Can it load IRs? Yes. Does it come with any? No. Load your own. But you can see right there, it says Dynacap, and all your settings can be done here. It's, of course, easier in the desktop app. Furthermore, more settings. There are also in-depth expert settings for tube voltage. Don't be silly. Make music, people. Right? So a lot of in-depth if you want to. With really, one of the only caveats is 4 blocks. Which I think, totally fine. It reduces the fractal world in a way that you don't get floored right away. You can still do a lot, and you have a lot of different sounds and effects and amps and cabs. But in the big ones, you've got 2,000 IRs. Come on, who needs that? So, let's go into some sounds, and then, trust me, there's, I think, a 20-minute section just on the software. So we're just going to go through some sounds here with this Tyler Studio Elite HD Japanese edition. Here we go. That's a good starting point, the AM4 gig rig. I will also bitch about some things. With the Fractal stuff, and not especially, but probably because that's what we're looking at, with this, it wouldn't be my very first thing for cleans. I'm sure if I spend some time with it, I can dial in some killer cleans, but a lot of the stuff that is there is thinner, is smaller, and doesn't have the thickness that I want in my clean sounds. Yeah, sometimes you want, the brightness and all that stuff, but it's not what I'm looking for. Would I use it as my main platform for killer cleans? I wouldn't. Effective cleans, yes, but just a clean sound with a reverb where you go like, hell yeah. It shines at metal because you don't have issues of headroom, right? You can dig in and the amp doesn't give in. Lead sounds, it's killer for the metal player, it's killer for the fusion guy that wants leads that don't get in your way. When it comes to the mojo, the fuzz into a plexi, the dirt, the rock and roll attitude, sorry Fractal, it's not there. I know you don't want me to say that, and I know you sent me the thing to review, but Fractal does not convince me with a rock and roll attitude like, for example, Paradise Guitar Studio from UA would, or a freaking amp in a room. Okay, I don't think it can do that. It's all very controlled. Let's put it that way. So we're gonna go to scenes. Here, I mean, this is a guitar with a lot of top end and stuff, but those two together, pretty horrible. Holy shit, not good. There's non-harmonic bullshit happening up there that's not good. Whoever programmed that just put way too much weird gain in there and top end. Just don't use that sound if you have that guitar, right? But here, that's actually pretty solid. Plexi-esque, it's fine. It's missing the rock and roll aspect of an actual plexi. It's a simulation of a plexi, and I think that describes it really fairly. Now, I could not get away from the last one. This 2C plus hot lead is mid-focused, and with this guitar, I soloed for hours, and I felt like a much better guitar player than I am. And that's what the Fractal stuff does. It makes you feel like a killer player. It doesn't get in the way in any way. Sometimes gear does, and that pushes you in a different direction. This doesn't get in the way. It's a killer sound to have fun with. Again, Fractal doesn't get in your way. It's a killer tool to get the job done. Phil X would not be happy. If you wanted rock and roll, I don't think that, Lemmy through this, I don't think would work. But, and the fusion guy, the metal guy, there's many reasons to play this. I will go up here, and now we're just on the second preset. Again, the clean amps don't floor me. If I turn on my Imperial through my aux, it's a whole different world. Also a low-end thump that's weird there. But let's quickly just go through some presets here. And maybe not even the scenes. The ACs just are weird in the top end. It's a bit better. Nice. Bass, bass, bass. That's all solid shit right there. Differently voiced because of different cabs, makes total sense. super cool. You know, phaser, amp. We can, of course, turn the delay on in front of the amp, like Eddie. And again, nothing in the way. It's really easy to play. That rhymes. And if we look at the scenes here, let's get to some effects here. There's so many here. Here, Petrucci, that's where we want to be. Let's go into the software part. Stick with me, or skip that if you want to go to the end. Okay, now we're in the editor. Connects with USB. Pretty straightforward. Reads what's on the hardware. And so you can see up here, you can go through the different modes, just like on the pedal when you're pushing 1 and 2. So you're either in preset mode, in scene mode, amp, effects. You can't see that, but right now the pedal changes. Right here, not too much happens because you kind of see everything right away. So you have presets, you've got the scenes, and so on. We don't want to launch the preset manager. So here you see all the presets, right, in banks of 4. Really easy to get around. Quite a bit easier to find your preset compared to, let's say, the XFX3, which has just so many. So that whole so many is reduced here, which I find, you know, rather refreshing and nice. Sort by name. Isn't that kind of cool? No? Alphabetically. Also nice. And of course, you can just type something in. So rev. And then I get any presets with that in the name. You can just go up and down, which is what I did when I did the track. You know, looked for stuff. And then I went to this one. And that was one of the sounds that I used. And that's really just the amp. And here it's the amp with reverb. It's quite a bit more straightforward than the usual Fractal editors, because in the Fractal editor you usually have the whole chain and you can do different things and go between different rows and parallel and, you know, all that stuff. This is easier to understand and less options get you to playing faster. That's a big thing with Fractal because you can go down a rabbit hole that you can never get out of. Here, it's pretty straightforward, and I really like that. So you can manage the scenes. So you see for drive, for example, do you want channel A, B, C, D? Let's go into what channels are. So it's actually pretty cool. So scenes are what line 6 would call a snapshot, right? And right now I'm on drive. It's off, and I could just hit space on the keyboard and turn that on and off, or you hit bypass in the corner. And so right now that's 808 drive. You can click here and change it into any of these drives. And again, that's already too many because it has the back end of all the Fractal stuff. just a different interface and less blocks. So I could say, go to channel B. Now it's a precision drive. Channel C, it's a riot. Channel D, it's a super overdrive. And these 4 can be addressed in a scene. So let's say in scene 2, for the first block, which is the drive, I want this, and I don't want it to be bypassed. So that's what the scene then would call up. So technically, without ever changing a preset, you have access to 4 different drives, and you can assign them to a scene, or just go to the scene, pick it, and then save. And you can see each of the scenes actually has a different amp. Scene 3 has a different reverb over here. So you can have a little bit of an overview of what's going on there. You can also do it right here. I don't know why that's a drop. I mean, you can just click there and click there. Okay. You can also go to your library if you already have saved some stuff. So you could just have a setting for this drive. I mean, it's 3 knobs, you don't really need that. But let's say for an amp, you have a setting that you really like. You can put this in the library. You can also go to expert edit, and then way too much shit shows up again. As you can clearly see, low cut, high cut, bass, mid frequency. I mean, way more than the tone knob, right? Your treble, your digital lo-fi, bit reduction, diode type, full graphic EQ. Way too much shit. Don't go down that rabbit hole, I say. Can you? Yes. But should you? Fuck no. Then I go to amp. I mean, we can turn that off again, hit bypass. We can go to amp, and here you can see what amp you want to choose. And again, just way too many amps. It's ridiculous how many amps are there. Too many, if you ask me. Same thing with the library, and we've got the different channels, meaning within one preset, you actually have access to different amps if you set them up. I mean, here we got, let's see, are there actually different, let's say, models? And here we have full access to the amp, a graphic EQ, the cab, which is in the same block as the amp, which is cool. And there you have the dyna cabs, which is all I use. I don't really use IRs. And it's very easy to move your dynamic around, or your ribbon. And the mics here are condenser, dynamic, dynamic 2, and ribbon. And that's more than enough, totally fine. And you just move these around, position, distance, but you can easily do this with a knob. You can blend them, you've got it, you can pan them, all that stuff, general level. Absolutely fine for the cab. If you want to use IRs, you can go to user cab, and right now it's all empty. So I would have to load, oh, you can actually assign colors. That's cool to find stuff again. You can load your IRs, and that's it. And then you can call up IRs. But stock, there are none in here, which I think is totally fine, because when we go to Dynacab, there's a good selection of cabs, and together with the mic positioning, that's really all that you need, right? And, the 1960 is a pretty good choice. So extras, there's a boost level. So when you're holding the amp foot switch, that actually brings in that boost, and you can put some room on the cab, room size, all that. What else do we have? If we go to chorus, again, here are just different choruses. That's crazy. And what do we have? We have, look, 4 different ones on the channels. And depending on which one you have, you've got different controls. Reverbs, same thing. Quite a lot of different reverbs. But let's say I don't want a chorus there, right? Well, then I right click and I say I want a delay. Pretty easy. Now I pick what delay I want. What's a Zephyr? Let's try that out. So let's say that's too much drive for me, right? I'll just go down. And that's actually this channel is OD2. So let's go to the clean one. a gate on, by the way, that is not related to the device. I have that on my input. So we go here, space. It's pretty intuitive in terms of how you use it. Hall, asylum. Loads of control, but you relatively quickly get to what you need to get to. So we've got my in here, which is this. You have a gate there. We've got levels on the out. Again, graphic EQ. Here is an overview over the different blocks. Which one is bypass, which one is in bypass through. What channel do we have right now? And you can say series or parallel. Very nice. So we could have the delay in parallel. That is nice. I didn't know that's possible. Look at that. Interesting. Well, but then I'd have to probably have them wet. I mean, there's reasons to have this stuff on. Very cool that that's possible. We've got controllers like LFOs, envelopes, ADSRs. There's a sequencer. And even modifiers. On MIDI, each scene can send 4 MIDI messages. So you can say, send a program change on channel 8, 50, and you switch your Strymon or something. So you have 4 MIDI messages that you very quickly can dial in. Also on 8, and we're going to set gain to 69. 69. I don't know if that's gain, but you get the idea. Very, very quickly send 4 simple MIDI messages. And here's a quick build where you see all the different blocks, and all you got to do is put the filter there, go to filter, and Ottawa. It's maybe now a little bit much here. So that's how easy it goes. You go to quick build, you want a tremolo there, put a tremolo there, go back to edit, harmonic trem. So the quick build is probably like rotten. No, that's a rotary. Let's do the rotary instead of, yeah, cool. Really straightforward interface. I think you'd get around in a couple of minutes, but it offers a lot of possibilities. Obviously, go to the expert edit, all the parameters you ever wanted, saves things in your library. If you go to tuner, there's the tuner. Just like on all the other Fractal gear, and it's a dependable, solid tuner. I use this almost every day here in the studio with my XFX3. You can tap the tempo or just say 130 if you're working in a sequence. I type in the tempo directly, and Bob's your uncle. There you go. Now everything's gone. Why there's so much reverb, I don't know, but bam, reverb's gone. Scene number 2, big plate. So find something that works for you and start modifying. The software is, I would say, for as complex as the hardware can be. Pretty straightforward. Doesn't overwhelm except for, maybe the amount of amps or whatever. And I want to change my cap, bam, go to cap, bam, I'm there. I want a different reverb, done. I don't want to reverb that at all. Go to quick build. I want a flanger there. I want this to be here. Can I do that? Wait, can I move this over here? Yep, you just move things around. Pretty straightforward. And I think for most things you would ever want to do, those 4 blocks are all you need. Honestly, if you need more than 4 blocks, maybe learn some guitar or something. I don't know. Absolutely works. I really like the software. I don't see any problems with the interface or anything. Back to me. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I do think this is probably the Fractal to get, unless you want the full emergence into all blocks and everything. Go with the FM3, which has only 3 foot switches, but of course has all the different foot switch modes that you can do. There's so much depth in these things. You can do all the super in-depthitude on this. We haven't even looked at, the setup page. And look at the pages up there. It's impossible to go into everything. I mean, MIDI, expression, loop, all that. This would be to explain everything and to show you every effect in every block, a video series of probably 10 videos. And I'm pretty sure they exist. If you go to the G66 YouTube channel, I'm sure there's many, many, many great videos that go more in depth. But being someone who has every modeler that's on the market, from the Tonex that's from looking at, to the Nano Cortex, to the Quad Cortex, and ToneMaster Pro, and Helix Stadium XL, and the FM3, the FM9, the XFX3, which I use on a regular basis, the AM4. I have them all because I test them for you, and I need to be able to compare them. What do we have in this price range? Nano Cortex, well, can't really compare. First of all, it does profiling and doesn't have the wealth of options. Solid box though. Okay. There are NAMM players, yeah, but they do less. We've got Pod Go. That's of course a bit cheaper, but I mean, Helix and all that stuff starts way up there. Size-wise, killer. Size-wise, maybe this is a little bit smaller than a Quad Cortex, but a Quad Cortex $15.99, so forget about it. Bang for the buck, $8.99. You get a lot. You get not a toy. You get a solid professional tool with really the only drawback or compromise is you have 4 blocks. And maybe not every single thing that's in the big ones, which honestly, with the wealth of stuff that's in here, I don't know who needs it. This is a absolutely solidly built professional tool. I wish it had direct XLR outs instead of having to use an adapter, which I use now. Well, carry the adapter with you. Boo-hoo. Other than that, I really think the AM4 deserves to be sold out on a regular basis. If around $1,000 is what you want to spend on your modeler, I would recommend you check out the AM4 if you can. Tough because it's not in shops. Pretty sure you can send it back if you don't like it. Otherwise, that's a bad business model. It's a solid box, plus minus the stuff I said. There you go. I'll put links below to G66. Thank you, G66, for sending this over. And we put animals at the end, as always.